Hello, learners. We'll be talking about the cell, and now we would be looking at the cell as a living unit of organisms. Firstly, we'll be looking at the definition of a cell. We'll be looking at the definition of a cell. So, definition of cell is simply the cell is the basic structural and functional unit of all living organisms. I take that again. The cell is the basic, structural, and functional unit of all living organisms. What does this statement mean? This simply means that the cell can carry out all life activities such as feeding, reproduction, excretion, growth, adaptation, etc. Thus, the cell is the building block of life. Living organisms are either unicellular or multicellular. Living organisms can either be unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular organisms are made up of one cell. Unicellular organisms are made up of one cell. Example include amoeba, paramecium, chlamydomonas, euglena, etc. Remember, unicellular organisms have just one cell, while multicellular organisms consist of many cells. That is, the cells are more than one. Example include hydra, earthworms, birds, man, water leaf, mangoes, even the egg cell, and etc. There are some facts that I want you to know about. These are important random facts. Firstly, is that the smallest cell is the mycoplasma, and mycoplasma is a bacteria. Secondly, the largest cell is an egg cell of an ostrich. The largest cell is an egg cell of an ostrich. Thirdly, the longest cell is the nerve cell. The longest cell is the nerve cell. Fourthly, the largest cell in the human body is the female ovum. And lastly, the smallest cell in the human body is the male gamete. The smallest cell in the human body is the male gamete, and that is the sperm cell. Now, when we talk about a cell, it is made up of two main components. The two main components of the cell are the cell membrane and the protoplasm. So the cell is composed of two main components, the cell membrane and the protoplasm is subdivided into the cytoplasm and the nucleus. That is, the component of the protoplasm include the cytoplasm and the nucleus. I will be further illustrating this in a flow chart, in a diagram. So now we have the cell which we are talking about, which consists of two components. Like I have said earlier, the plasma membrane and cell wall, the plasma membrane and cell wall, and the protoplasm. The protoplasm is further subdivided into the cytoplasm and the nucleus. The cytoplasm and nucleus. Now, having known about the cell, its components, basic components, and the different type of cell and examples of such components, and I haven't taken you through some key facts to note, I will be looking at some examples. So now, our first example, we'll take this question 1. Amoeba can be compared with a multicellular organism because amoeba can be compared with a multicellular organism because it A. has ability to perform all functions of a complex organism. B. undergoes sexual reproduction. C. possesses large cells within its endoplasm. C. possesses large cells within its endoplasm. D. has ability to synthesize glucose. Has ability to synthesize glucose from raw materials. Answer. The answer to this question is A, which says has ability to perform all functions of a complex organisms. The reason for this is that amoeba, despite being a unicellular organism, can perform the same function of a complex organism, of multicellular organisms, and this is in coherence with what we said earlier, that the cell can carry out all life activities. We will be looking at another example. The question here says the largest single cell in living organisms is the largest single cells in living organism is the A. sperm cell, B. unfertilized egg of a bird, C. bacterium cell, D. fat cell. So from this question, if you would think and look at what we did earlier on the facts I told you to note about, you would see in those facts that the largest cell is an egg cell of an ostrich, and an ostrich is a bird. This will bring our answer to B, unfertilized egg of a bird. unfertilized egg of a bird. Also, from the fact I told you to note about, you would see that the sperm cell is the smallest single cell in the human body, while the bacterium cell is also a very small cell, and the smallest cell is mycoplasma, and mycoplasma is what? Is a bacteria. And also, if we should refer back, we see that the nerve cell is the longest cell in the human body, and the female ovum is the largest cell in the human body. This is just a recap, but the answer to our question still remains B, unfertilized eggs of a bird. Now, we will be looking at another example. The question reads thus: the cell is a functional unit of living organisms because A, multicellular organisms are made up of cells. A, multicellular organisms are made up of cells. B, all the cells in a multicellular organism function as a single cell. C, the function of a multicellular organism is the sum total of the function of its constituent cells. D, the function of a single cell is superior to that of the multicellular organism. E, the cells of a multicellular organism are similar in structure. The cell is the basic structural and functional unit of living organisms. As the basic functional unit, the collective function of cells is the sum total of the function of the organism. That means the function of a multicellular organisms is the sum total of the function of its constituent cells. Individual cells functioning together will make up the function of the cell. We have come to the end of our discussion of cell as living units of organisms, and we have been able to look at some questions, and these are the most likely questions you would see in your exams. Thank you.